What's up, everyone? Hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to another episode of Level Requests, a series where I play levels sent in by you guys in my Discord server, linked down in the description. So let's just get started. The first level we're going to be playing is called... I'm not going to even try to pronounce. I love a good Dorabae Basic type level. Like, if some of you have been around for a while, you would probably recognize this type of like level gimmick from its resurgence in the past like year or two, where plenty of creators such as myself have made these like basic old school levels to as a sort of homage to what Dorabae did back in the day as one of the most prominent creators who made levels fit for, well, beginners, hence the basic in the name. And I think this level lives up quite well to what Dorabae did. Although, perhaps I would say that the colors are, well, they're better here, but in the previous parts, I would say the colors were a bit darker than what Dorabae did back in the day, I would argue. But man, the designs are so nostalgic, and some people might say that these types of levels should not get rated, but I heavily disagree. I think being able to go back and revisit the types of levels the community used to make back in like 1.9, 2.0 is amazing, and it helps keep the awarded tab varied. And I think it's also very cool to see people's interpretations of this type of level, like nowadays, with more tools and at their disposal, more knowledge of the editor. And I wholeheartedly support these levels. The music representation in this level is awesome, by the way. Especially in this part. Oh, yeah, these parts are just exactly how I remember some of Dorabae's levels. And it's so awesome to see this, like, bolder color usage. Which is something I just haven't seen in so long. I just realized this level is really long. Like, I don't know if it's gonna use the entire song. It seems like it will. But man, massive respect to the creator. I love the little patterns going on throughout the level, such as in this part. Oh, that was my fault, but I love the little like patterning going on with the colors and like squares throughout the entire level. It did use the entire song. That's awesome. Even though the designs are very simple, I think that just perfectly encapsulates Dorabae's old stuff. Very simple, old school designs. Some nice use of like the pulsing objects. And just overall it just gives a very nostalgic vibe, which I really like. As I've mentioned in previous videos, it doesn't matter what style you build, you can make any style look good. And each style has its own place, time and place, that is. And I think these types of basic levels definitely belong in the awarded tab. I really like this throwback. And for what it's going for, I think it does what it's going for very well. The gameplay, for the most part, pretty fun. There were some off-screen clicks, especially at like 15% with those blue orbs, I think. But overall, just a very solid interpretation of this level movement, and I respect it. Feature rating. Awesome job. The next level that I found is Boo Womp Swamp by Robot Nipper. So let's check it out. Okay. I didn't quite understand what was going on at first. I love the use of the mirror portal right off the bat. Many people hate the mirror portal, but I think it's awesome. Although I will say, the gameplay, like the difficulty of some of the clicks is a little bit much, considering this was requested for less than a demon. Oh wait, what is this? Wait, this is cool? What? That was awesome. Okay, the gameplay gimmicks in this level are really cool, actually. The color use is very bold. The structuring is on point. Very interesting shapes. Helps keep the level interesting. A lot of vertical camera has been utilized here, which some people might find hard to read, but I think it's fine. I need to go back and play that that one wave section. I will say, maybe in this first part, making the structures fully fade out isn't the best idea, because the player just can't see where to go. What I really love, I forgot to mention this earlier, but what I really love in this part is the absolute contrast you get from these like pinkish colored segments of the block designs, because the main color scheme of the part is, you know, green obviously, but these add the pink little details add so much variety, and although the color difference is immense, I think it works out really well. Okay, here's the wave. I really like this. That wave part is like such a clever idea. Really clean and bold colors from there on out. Like, you can tell the creator had fun making this, and I think that's awesome. Great end screen as well. Yeah. Awesome ideas. Perhaps the beginning of the gameplay is just a tiny bit harder to understand than the rest, but I will send this for a 9-star feature. Awesome job. The third level for today is Iris Dent by Olin. Got some simple experimental vibes going on with the flashing loop of the object color and the line color. Very simple. Ooh, I like that little fall into the ground gimmick. I will say though, some of these structures are missing 3D. So if you can see on this left structure, we have this 3D going around the main solid blocks, such on the right, on the top, but none on the structure here. So if you make 3D, you basically put like 45-degree, well, this is what I do at least, you put 45-degree objects or lines in every single corner of your structure, and then later on you connect those 45-degree lines on like whichever lines are outside the structure, right? So this 3D would have to start like here, go all the way up, right? Then connect here, go back down, and then go into the structure. So 3D for slopes is more difficult, but there are strategies you can use to make sure you use correct 3D all the time. Oh, I think, ooh, okay. The shader effect on the icon is very clever here, considering the background is super bright, and then you're working with other like contrasting darker elements in this part. And making the icon one of those contrasting elements is very smart, because it just ties it back together more. Now this part is a drastic switch up from the previous one for sure, but it looks pretty cool. Perhaps lacking some structure movements because it feels very static, but otherwise, I'd say these are quite cool. A lot of different ideas going on, for sure. But I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, as long as you can tie those ideas together well. Like, I would say in this level, the first two parts tie together with this one very well. Like, I think this level, up until this section, just, it works together pretty well. But I feel like this spider part is definitely a little, like, too out of place compared to the rest. And because of that, I don't think I'm gonna send this for a feature rating. Especially because it's quite short in length as well. So I would have liked to see the level be developed out slightly more. But I still appreciate the simpler designs. The first three parts are quite cool. They work together pretty well. So I will send this for a star rate. The fourth level for today is Nocturne by Lazuli GMD. This is supposedly the creator's third ever level. And for a third level, this has some cool ideas. Like the little scaling effect going on with the blocks. Like the small little squares inside the structures. And then also, I think there's an area fade / tint going on with these like squares popping out of the ground spikes. And these little like hashtag things as well. Which is pretty cool. Okay. Still the same overall style going on. Perhaps it would be a bit better to vary things up considering those parts last for half the level. And I can also see like most of the elements from the previous parts in this part as well, which can make the level come off as very repetitive. Yeah, this part as well. Like, they all use the same concepts and the same structuring. So I think this level definitely, as a result, comes off very repetitive and copy-pasted. Definitely needs more variation. Even with the colors, I feel like the level was mostly like this, like desaturated bluish / like more saturated blue throughout the entire thing. So definitely need to work on your variation a bit more because it's a little too repetitive. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna send this. I'm probably gonna hold out for now. For a third level, this is pretty good. You know how to use area triggers, and you have a sense of like structuring, like how to structure a part to make it look full. So you're doing that very well. But yeah, just work on your repetitive designs. Try to vary things up a little bit more, and I think your next level will become even better. And I'm sure you can get creator points very soon. The fifth and probably the final level for this episode is called Altspective by Paradox Flux. I'm seeing some combinations of base blocks used for the block designs. So you have these like brick objects, and then this like deadlocked techno / factory object overlaid. When you overlay different objects with the blending element enabled, it is very easy to make your designs come off as slightly messy. And what you could do to avoid having your designs become messy is to perhaps separate these techno blocks and the brick blocks into two separate parts of the block design. So just delete the brick objects from behind these techno objects, and then perhaps add some solid color behind them just to differentiate the two parts a little bit more. Maybe mess around with some colors, add some, like make the color more close to this object one perhaps, and I think it could be pretty cool. I also noticed that in these sections, you've used, like, you haven't connected the techno objects in the corners. There is an object you can use for that. It's right next to these other ones, so you can definitely use that to connect these objects and make it a little bit cleaner. But it's not bad so far. Definitely very simple around the blocks and a little bit messy within the blocks, but it's nothing you can't improve, for sure. Okay, what stood out to me here is this curved structure. And as inside of a swing part, this curved structure is genius because it kind of fits the trajectory of the swing, and it makes the level feel way better to play. What I would recommend for these drop parts is to just amplify the structure, like the structure movements, make them a little bit more sharp, and add some stronger pulsing and maybe some other small effects, because the song is very upbeat and like way more intense than the pre-drop, but the actual level doesn't convey that very well. Like the level just, the intensity feels the exact same as in the pre-drop, right? So you could definitely add some more to make the level stand out a little bit more. Decent stuff already. Work on cleaning up your block designs. Don't stack many blending objects with different textures on top of each other because it can come off as messy. And just work a little bit more on balancing the complexity of your block designs with the actual structuring itself and air deco, because the space around the structures felt very empty. And of course, when working with a song that is very upbeat, definitely try to express the intensity of the song. If the song were to enter a drop, for example, definitely try to make stronger pulsing, better movements, like more sharp movements, maybe some shakes with the shake trigger. Definitely a lot you could do. It's a solid base, and I'm sure you can improve upon this base and just make this into an even better level. And with that, this episode of Level Requests has come to an end. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. We recently hit 3,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can reach 4,000 maybe this year. That would be awesome. So make sure you subscribe, like, leave a comment. Anything helps. And yeah, see you all next time. Bye-bye.